Going to a football match in the middle of pandemic feels like a wonderful initial stress and a really TV show. The match message instructs me to arrive at Emden Boarding School 3 hours before starting kickoff against the Republic. I must wear my mask at all times. I must take in all food from my micro bag in a plastic bag provided by the stadium, and all the catering allowed at the shop. And Lauren said burgers or cartons of flat Pepsi to keep me going. When I begin eating up to stadium, there's a lead. The crowds are predictably sparse. The pub outside the ground floor is a supporter wrapped in skull flag, look like a tempting alternative. When I suggest to Stuart that Michael get a junior head of the game, a look of concern crosses her kindly face. Be careful which pub you're going to, she said, double still coming. What is she going to predict with the dark left side and clutching? I have given my spare ticket to Rear Scott, my friend Alastair, who is from Edinburgh, but also now 100% at home in Glasgow. Also now 100% at home in Glasgow. We decided to take the my friend Alastair. He's not from Alastair, so he's not from home. So we picked the line and skipped the pub. Inside the stadium, we encountered a fan, the largest tartar suit I ever seen, including a tiny prospect. I pulled for the photo with him and they tells me I had it tailor-made, son. It fits me like a glove. It is not just COVID regulation that make this unique and peculiar European tournament. Euro 2020, as a first insist on calling it, has also become sucked into the culture wars. To put outside the ground floor with support flocked into culture. English football team had decided to take the knee before matches as a protest against racism. No, English football team culture war has become sucked into the culture wars. National football team is a symbol of the nation, but that is not a straightforward task at a time when national identity is so fiercely contested. The pressing issue for Scotland is independent. For England, it is race. English football team has decided to take the knee before matches as a protest against racism. But each time they do it, they are booed by significant section of their own supporters. Even the government seems uncertain about how to respond. After hesitating for a while, Boris Johnson, Prime Minister, condemned the booing and urged fans to get behind the team. But two members of his cabinet, Jacob Smoke and Pri Patel, defended the protesters, Anna expressing racism but condemned the Marxists of Black Lives Matter movement. Patel, Britain's Home Secretary, accused the player of indulging in gesturing politics. Players from the England team, whose pre-game press conferences are normally confined to discussing tactics, injuries, and the atmosphere inside the camp, now being asked to react Home Secretary. It would be natural to assume that cabinet ministers are better at politics than footballers, but the Johnson government has reason to be worried of the classing of the England team. Last year, it went down to a unanimous defeat when it took a Marcus for over extension free school meals for poor families. Like a stretch for over extension free school meals for poor families. The Manchester United and England Fold mobilized millions behind the petition and forced the Johnson government to change tack. The 22-year-old Westbrook preparation for Euro 2020 defended the protesters and not expressing racism but condemned the Marxists of Black Lives Matter. First, the Manchester United and England Fold mobilized millions behind the petition and forced the Johnson government to change tack. The 22-year-old Westbrook preparation for Euro 2020 included some COVID program, while plenty of tourists are prepared about work in Rashburn. None are willing to take him in public. The cultural wars of football are not just happening in Britain. The multiracial Belgian team took the knee in Russia ahead of their opening game. They were also booed by the crowd. Doubtless the Russian also was protesting against Marxism. Viktor Orban, Prime Minister of Hungary, one of the nation for 2020, has defended fan who visiting team that take the knee, saying that Hungary see the as a vocation. Orban is himself a right-wing provocateur. Earmarked by Sinn frequent warning about its elderly dangers of being flooded by Muslims. But even some moderate conservatives are uncomfortable with footballers taking the knee. One pro-military thinker in Britain lamented me that football has been a political sport, but now the national team has become a source of division. I can see what it means. This year's tournament inevitably brings back memories of Euro 96, when England also played their games at Wembley and the whole country they seemed to get behind the team in a complicated sort of way. Back then, packed the stadium, all joined in the singing of the line. Football's coming home. Now the stadiums are largely empty and some of the home crowds actually bring their place. By somebody who has been to many England games over the years, I know that the team was never mixed up with politics or race is an illusion. England games have always attracted a substantial number of hooligan far-right supporters whose pre-game press conferences are normally confined to discussing tactics, injuries, and the atmosphere inside the camp, are now being asked to react home security. It would be natural to assume that cabinet ministers are better at politics than footballers, but the Johnson government has reason to be worried closing with the England team. No, when England, I can see what it means. This year tournament it never brings back on Euro 96. When England also played their games in Wembley and the whole country, they seemed to get behind the team in a complicated sort of way. Back then, packed the stadium, all joined in the singing of the lines, all footballs coming on. Now the stadiums are largely empty and some of the home crowds actually bring the players. By somebody who has been to many England games over the years, I know that the team was never mixed up with politics or race and illusion. England games have always attracted a substantial number of hooligan far-right supporters. Whose trademark chant is no surrender to the RA. At the last European Football Championship in France in 2016, the ugly tradition of English football hooliganism re-emerged. When I remarked to another fan that I didn't particularly enjoy being caught up in a near riot, outside a bar in Marseille, I was told curtly, "If you don't like it, you should stay at home and watch the game on television." Before growing to 1970 was also where I saw the most over racing that I ever witnessed. It was routine to see black plagues, bark by bulls, and monkey noises. The football authorities and commentators were silent about this for many years. So if the current national side felt they want to make a statement about racism, it is hard to accuse them of bringing police into a political space. The police, particularly the racial police, have always been there. The identity issues are already different for Scotland. Euro 2020 comes as the Scottish government has even allowed schools to stop lessons to allow the kids to comes as the ramping up demand, rather different for Scotland. Euro 2020 comes as the Scottish government is ramping up demand for a second independent referendum. This is the first major international tournament the team has qualified for since 1998, neatly fitting the narrative of national revival. Arriving in Scotland for the Scotland side that lined up to play. Arriving in Scotland for the first game of the tournament, I find the local paper full of optimism. In recognition of the enormity of the occasion, the Scottish government has even allowed schools stop lesson to allow the kids to watch the game against Czech lives. As a visiting English fan, I wonder how I feel about all this. I grew up supporting Scotland in big international tournaments. I had little options since England failed to qualify for the World Cup in 1974 and 1978, but British identity was less complicated back then. The anthem played for the Scotland side that lined up to play Brazil in 1974 was God Save the King, Although to recording does not show the Scottish player looking particularly delighted. Today, the crowd and team will be belting out Flaw Scotland loud enough to drown out the conversation. The team start the game with all the expected passion steam for their captain. The person can be seen gesturing to his player to calm down. Then the check score and the air sucked out of the stadium. And a group of children out of stadium. Then the check score and the air sucked out of the stadium. At that time, which I choose spent in the toilet next to hand dryer, the warmest spot in Hampton, there is hopeful terror around that Scotland might be able to turn this round. Early in the second half, football history is made by the text. Patrick Sheet, the team center forward, gets the ball on the outside line and plus 12 with the Scottish goalkeeper into the net. It is one of the most brilliant goals any of us will ever witness. The crowds are almost totally silent apart from a tiny group of cheering checks on the other side of the stadium and a group of children near me who continue happily shouting for Scotland, while the crowd around them was frozen in horror. After the match, Alistair reminds me that Scotland fans are used to bitter disappointment, making the national football team a symbol of the nation is double-edged sword. We imagine them scoring wonderful goals and celebrating with the fans, but what if your goalkeeper flaunted fly on his back and tangled them in the net? Euro 2020 already delivered humbling setback for two football match leaders. Orban gave permission for capacity crowds to attend Hungary's opening game in Budapest against Portugal, only to see the nation side lose 3-0. Recep Tayyip Erdogan, President of Turkey, traveled to Azerbaijan and sat in a place of honor next to Azer prison, from where he was able to see Turkey go down to a 2-0 defeat against Wales. The England team disappointed their fans almost as they eliminated the Scots, so slightly later in the day. The England team also have a heavy disappointment their most ardent fan. The side often portrays as the embodiment of what we like to believe are national characteristics: courage, calmness under pressure. In fact, as a recent piece by Jonathan Lee in The Guardian pointed out, England are uniquely bad at holding a lead in a tournament. The numbers seem to suggest they might even be battlers, and they all here say the French and Italians are much better at holding their nerve when they take lead. If Gareth Southgate, the England manager, can somehow break this cycle and turn England into a winning outfit, he will inadvertently provide a huge boost to Johnson government that is desperate for symbol of the success of Brexit. But Southgate has subtly but mistakenly positioned himself to the left of the government taking the knee. He leads a multiracial team and has a continued to defend their right to make statements on subjects other than football. It has become exactly wisdom in Britain that culture wars always work better for the right than the left. But football may be an exception. A poll that came across Europe before 2020 showed that 54% of English football fans supported taking the knee. With 39% opposed, the England team keeps winning. The number in favor may rise, along with the team's popularity. But once the right may find itself on the wrong end of a culture war for the duration of Euro 2020, I will care much less about who wins the culture war than who wins the tournament. For Scotland, Euro 2020 began with a deflating defeat. The England team disappointed their fans almost as reliably as the Scots, just slightly later in the day. On the other hand, this is a real tournament. It's taking place in the middle of pandemic. The stadiums are quite full, and England are playing half decently. I am allowing myself to hope for the weirdest outcome of the lot. an England victory.